All right, child, lean in close. I'll tell you the kind of story that sticks to your soul like sugar on your fingers. Back in the hollers of Appalachia, we didn't need candy stores or shiny wrappers to taste magic. Just sugar, butter, and a little know-how turned a quiet kitchen into a world of foam and honeycomb, shattering sugar glass and sticky peanut butter boppers. Every batch was a spell. Every Sunday sugar pull a family gathering, and every bite carried the laughter, sweat, and love of generations. These weren't just sweets. They were childhood, captured in wax paper and caramelized sugar. That, my dear, is the hook that makes folks lean in, remember their own childhood treats, and never look at candy the same way again. Ah, child, come sit by me a spell. I got a story to tell you about how we used to make candy back in the hollers when I was knee-high to a June bug. Now, don't you think we had fancy shops and shelves of chocolates like city folks do? No, sir. We had sugar from the general store, a jar of peanut butter, a stick of butter churned fresh from our own cows, and a pantry full of nuts we'd cracked ourselves. Saturdays were the sweetest days. I remember my mama taking a heavy pot, pouring in sugar and a touch of water, and slowly cooking it till it shimmered like liquid gold. That's when she'd add the baking soda, and oh child, that pot would foam like a tiny volcano. We called it bee candy or honeycomb, and watching it bubble up made our hearts pound like a fiddle at a barn dance. We'd pour it on a buttered pan and wait till it cooled enough to crack into jagged pieces. Then there were peanut butter boppers. Oh, those were my first solo candy. Just mix peanut butter, powdered sugar, a splash of vanilla, roll them in your hands, maybe dust them with cocoa, and pop one in your mouth. And I can't forget the Sunday sugar pulls. After church, all the family gathered, buttered our hands, and stretched that amber candy, folding it back over itself till it turned pale and airy. Mama would scold us to pull gently, let the candy teach us patience. And sometimes, if we were lucky, there'd be maple roll candy, pure syrup beaten till it turned creamy and soft, sliced like spirals of sunshine. We learned so much from candy, how sugar could foam, stretch, snap, and melt, and how work and care could turn simple ingredients into magic. Even the grown-up treats like bourbon balls and cherry cordials had a place, their smells filling the house with something warm and secret, a little grown-up mischief we kids watched from the doorway. Oh, but that wasn't all sugar. Some days Mama would pull out the cast iron skillet and make sugar glass. Child, I swear that was like watching magic happen. She'd melt sugar with just a splash of water, watch it turn clear as a mountain creek, and pour it onto a buttered plate. We'd huddle close, our little hands itching, waiting for the amber sheets to harden, then tap 'em gently, crack, like tiny lightning bolts, and we'd squeal with delight. And then there was the brown sugar pool candy, sticky and sweet, with a hint of vinegar to keep it smooth. We'd all take turns stretching and folding, laughing as our hands touched, sometimes holding on to a rope of candy with a neighbor boy just long enough for a shy smile to sneak out. On chilly mornings, we'd make soft maple roll candy, beating the syrup till it turned light as cloud, then rolling it into logs to slice later, sweet spirals melting on our tongues. I remember maple nut goodies too, the smell of toasted black walnuts mixing with the woodsy sweetness of syrup. Child, it smelled like the whole forest in the kitchen. And if we had extra sugar, a lucky jar of corn syrup, Mama would make seafoam candy, that light foamy treat, whipped up with egg whites, brown syrup, and a little vanilla. It looked like ocean waves on wax paper. I'd watch those candies form, the sticky sweet smell swirling through the room, and feel like I was holding a piece of wonder right in my hands. Even the simple ones, like peanut brittle with roasted peanuts crackling in the pot, or Chuckles, those little jelly jewels dusted with sugar, had their own magic. Each candy had a story, a lesson, patience, care, joy, and sometimes a little mischief for good measure. Oh, child, and let me tell you about Mary Jane's, those sticky little bites of molasses and peanut butter. You had to be patient with 'em, 'cause once you bit down, you was committed. We'd sit on the porch, chewing slowly, saving every bit, watching the clouds roll over the holler. And sometimes, if the grown folks were feeling fancy, we'd get to taste bourbon balls, though only after supper when the adults sipped theirs with a wink. I never forgot the first time I saw cherry cordials being made. Mama would wrap each maraschino cherry in a bit of fondant, then dip it in chocolate. It took days, and the house smelled like Christmas had come early. Nougat was another thing, sticky, sweet, full of nuts and candied fruit, and oh, the pride we felt when Mama finally pressed it into pans lined with rice paper. Then there was Turkish delight, all soft and jiggly, dusted with sugar and scented with rose water or lemon water. Felt like tasting a faraway land without leaving the kitchen. But sometimes the simplest treats brought the most joy. Boiled pantry caramel, soft and creamy. A tin-pan toffee with butter and sugar bubbled just right, made hearts sing. And don't you forget the butterscotch drops, little amber jewels that melted slowly on your tongue while the kitchen filled with that rich, buttery smell. Even Candy cigarettes had their place, pretending to be grown-ups, mimicking the menfolk we looked up to. Each candy had its own rhythm, its own lesson, and every batch taught us something: how to watch sugar without looking away, how to pull and fold, how to wait, and how to savor. Those days, that kitchen, it was more than candy. It was life itself, wrapped in wax paper and sweet aromas, and every child learning to hold a little magic in their hands. Now, Sugar, let me ask you, what about y'all out there in the wide world of the USA? What were your childhood sweets? Was it peanut butter cups, caramel chews, or maybe those little fruit-flavored gummies that stuck to your fingers? I want to hear all about the candies that made your days bright, the treats that made you run to the porch or line up at the corner store after school. Go on now, write them in the comments. Don't be shy. I love reading about what tickled your taste buds back in the day. And while you're at it, if these stories of Appalachian kitchens and the sweet magic we made got your mouth watering, give this a like, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more trips down memory lane. There's plenty more sugar, syrup, and sticky-fingered fun where this came from, and I promise it's all made with love and a little bit of old-time mountain magic. Now, tell me, what candy made your childhood unforgettable? Oh, honey, then let me take you a little deeper back into that kitchen. There's still plenty of sweetness left in this old memory. Now, I remember one summer evening, the air thick and warm, cicadas singing outside like they were part of the recipe. Mama had a pot on the stove again, but this time it was for butterscotch. That smell, oh child, it wrapped around you like a quilt. Brown sugar and butter melting slow, turning into something rich and golden. We weren't allowed too close, not with that hot sugar, but we'd stand on tiptoes, peeking over the counter, watching like it was a show meant just for us. When she'd spoon those drops onto a buttered sheet, each one looking like a little amber jewel, we knew we had to wait, and that wait felt longer than Sunday service. And then there were the nights when the whole house smelled like caramel and wood smoke, when Mama would decide it was time for panoosh. She'd stand there steady as anything, stirring that pot, watching it like it might run off if she blinked too long. Patience, she'd say, not even looking at us. Sugar don't like to be rushed. We didn't understand it then, but we felt it. The quiet, the care, the way her hands moved like she was keeping a promise to someone long gone. Sometimes, right before Christmas, she'd make divinity or sea foam, beating egg whites till her arms got tired, then pouring that hot syrup in slow. I can still hear the mixer humming, see that pale, fluffy candy form like clouds right there on the table. We'd sneak little tastes when she wasn't looking, giggling as it melted away before she could catch us. And on the coldest mornings, when frost clung to the windows, we'd find tins tucked away in the pantry, filled with brittle, toffee, little wrapped caramels. Mama always made extra, saying you never know who might come by. And sure enough, someone always did. A neighbor, a cousin, a traveler passing through, and there was always candy to share. That's the thing, child. It was never just about the sugar. It was about the time we spent waiting together, the laughter over sticky fingers, the lessons hidden in every stirred pot and pulled strand. We didn't have much, but we knew how to turn a handful of simple things into something that brought folks close. Now everything's faster, easier, sweeter in a way maybe, but it don't linger the same. It don't teach you to wait or to watch or to share. And if there's one thing I want you to carry from all this, is this: the sweetest things in life ain't the ones you buy, but the ones you make with patience, with your own two hands, and with people you love gathered close.